The transmission shouldn't exist. Static has ruled the airwaves since the plague ships left orbit, but now a human voice cuts through the dead frequencies. Jake, if you can hear this, they lied about everything. Male. Human. Impossible. Jake's coffee mug explodes against concrete before his brain catches up to what he's hearing. Years of muscle memory kicks in as his hand slams the transmit key, while his heart tries to punch through his ribs. Who is this? The words scrape out of his throat. Colorado Station 7. Underground. Christ, Jake, we thought you were dead. Every morning, every noon, every evening, broadcasting to a tomb. Speaking to silence. Keeping Earth's last lighthouse burning for ghosts. Years since the plague ships left orbit, carrying Earth's survivors to safety. Years of believing he was the only one left breathing on a dead world. Prove it! Jake's voice found its control, even as his hands shook. Hope was the first thing the plague ships had taken when they left orbit. Prove you're human. Static crackled between them. Then, your call sign is Lighthouse. You broadcast every day at 8 a.m., noon, and 6 p.m. Yesterday you played that song again, the one about the house in New Orleans. His throat closed. Only the dead remembered that song. How many of you? The words barely made it past his lips. Station 7, 12 of us. The voice cracked young, maybe 20. Born into holes in the ground. But Jake, we're not alone down here. The scanners are lighting up. Signals from Nevada, Texas, Florida. Hundreds of them. Jake stared at his radio display, those green lines that had been flatlining since the world died. Now they danced. Actually danced with impossible life. That's not possible. His breath fogged the cold air. The plague. There was no plague. Another voice cut through, female, older, carrying the weight of terrible knowledge. This is Station 12, New Mexico. Dr. Elizabeth Morrison, CDC. The plague was manufactured, selective. It only affected certain genetic markers. The words hit him with decompression force, sudden and brutal, stealing his breath. Years of mourning a lie. Years of grieving for people who were hiding in holes just like his. What genetic markers? Ice water replaced his blood. The ones they wanted gone. The fighters. The questioners. The ones who wouldn't kneel. Dr. Morrison's voice was carved from granite and bitter experience. Jake, they didn't save humanity. They culled us. The bunker walls pressed closer. His sanctuary became a coffin in an instant. Then why? Static exploded across every frequency like a solar flare. When it cleared, a new voice filled the underground dark. Deep. Alien. Speaking perfect, patient English. Because you're waking up. Jake's finger hovered over the emergency shutdown. Every protocol screamed abort, abort, abort. But the alien voice continued, almost gentle, the way you'd speak to a dangerous animal you needed calm. Keeper of signals, we know you hear us. We know they hear us. Time grows short. Jake, don't answer. Colorado 7's panic bled through the speakers. It's them. The Dominion bastards who. But their voice rolled over the interruption with the force of tide over sand. 3 cycles ago, we detected the stirring, in the deep black between stars. The Devourers wake. They come as they came before, when the galaxy was young and we were fools. A new signal burst through with raw terror made audible. This is Station 4, Montana. Something's moving in the tunnels. They're not human, they're screaming. Then silence that hurt worse than sound. Jake's hands shook as he adjusted frequencies. More voices flooded in now, dozens, hundreds, all human, all terrified, all asking the same question in different words. What was hunting them in the dark? The aliens spoke again. Patient as stone. You wonder why we preserved your kind. Why, we told the galaxy, you were extinct. Because you're genocide artists. He spat the words. Because you're immune. The word hit like a physical blow. Jake gripped the console until his knuckles went white as bone. The Devourers consume consciousness, the alien continued, each word measured and terrible. They strip away thought, memory, identity. Every species that encounters them joins their hunger, becomes part of the swarm. Every species but one. Humans. The word was barely a whisper. Your thoughts burn like solar flare stew, bright, too chaotic for the devourers to swallow. You are the only weapon we have found in 10,000 years of searching. Static crackled between worlds. Then Dr. Morrison's voice, tight with the kind of understanding that breaks people. The bunkers, the genetic selection. You didn't save the compliant ones. You saved the fighters. We saved the ones who would choose to fight when fighting meant extinction. Jake closed his eyes. The weight of it crushed down like kilometers of stone and 10,000 years of alien desperation. How long do we have? The first scouts reached the outer systems in 72 hours. The swarm follows within days. New voices erupted across the frequencies like a dam breaking. Military call signs. Underground bases Jake had never dreamed existed. Weapons, caches, spacecraft hidden in the Earth's carved-out bones. Jake. Colorado 7 again, Tommy. He said his name was Tommy. Whatever you're thinking, don't. We can't trust them. They genocided half our species, added Montana 4, voice hollow with loss. How do we know this isn't another lie? Jake stared at his reflection in the dark radio screen. Years of messages to the void. Years of keeping humanity's light burning in endless night. Years of being Earth's lighthouse keeper. Because, he said quietly, they're afraid. Their voice confirmed it without speaking. Fear leaked through its careful diplomatic words the way water finds cracks in stone. The choice is yours, Keeper. Wake your sleeping soldiers, or watch the galaxy burn. Jake looked at the master transmission key. Red button. Clear cover. Planet-wide emergency broadcast. He'd installed it years ago but never used it. Every hidden bunker. Every secret base. Every sleeping human soldier scattered beneath Earth's broken surface. Wake them up. All of them. The ones the aliens had saved not for compliance, but for war. His finger traced the cover's edge. If we do this, if we fight your war, what happens to us after? Silence stretched across the frequencies like a held breath. Then the alien voice, quieter now, almost human in its uncertainty. We do not know. No species has ever survived contact with the devourers. Even you may not be enough. Jake. Dr. Morrison's voice cut through like a scalpel. Deep space scanning stations are picking up movement. They're coming. 70 hours now, said Montana 4. 68, corrected Nevada 9. Jake flipped open the red cover. The button waited beneath. Innocent red plastic. The key to waking an army that didn't know it existed. Jake, don't. Colorado 7. Tommy, pleading now with the desperation of a child afraid of the dark. We can hide. Wait it out. Survive like we always do. Hiding didn't save Earth. Jake's voice carried the weight of years alone in the dark. Fighting did. We lost. No. His finger hovered over the button. We're still here. He pressed it. Across the planet, alarms screamed in buried bunkers. Emergency lights bathed underground cities in red. Weapons that had slept for decades hummed to life. Ships, hidden in carved-out mountains, began their wake-up sequences. And in the deep black between stars, something ancient and hungry turned its attention toward a small blue world that had just started screaming back. This is Jake Walker, call sign Lighthouse. He broadcast on every frequency Earth could reach. To all underground stations, all hidden bases, all sleeping soldiers, wake up. Humanity has a war to win. The responses came flooding in, not hundreds now, thousands. Tens of thousands, voices of the dead, risen to fight one more time. Jake leaned back in his chair and smiled for the first time since the world ended. He wasn't alone, never had been. Keeper, the alien voice said softly. What have you done? Lit the lighthouse, Jake's voice carried across the frequencies to every hidden human ear. The devourers think they're coming to harvest a dead world. Instead, they're coming to a place where dead things know how to bite back. Above ground, Denver's corpse lay cooling under alien stars. But 6 miles down, in bunkers carved from living rock, humanity's true children were opening their eyes. 10,000, 100,000, maybe more. The galaxy had made one critical mistake. They'd thought preservation meant keeping pets. They'd never learned that the best way to keep a wildfire alive is to give it something to burn. In 70 hours, they'd find out what years of isolation had taught Earth's last guardian. Hope wasn't about survival. Hope was about making the other bastards wish they'd never woken you up.